Our next little project is we're going to drill a hole in the backside of this TV. The reason why we're doing that is here's the flat screen TV and it's on a slide right here. But then there's a little ledge here, and then there's a cavity back at the bottom of that, and that's where they got their VCR. Well, behind the VCR, believe it or not, there's no hole in the back of there. So obviously they got to wrap all their wires up through here to get through the hole behind where the TV is. So we're going to drill a hole through there because we don't want all these cords here. It looks very unsightly. I don't know why the TV cabinet company didn't drill a hole, but they didn't. We're going to show you how to do that. Now this is a kind of a heavy unit. We've got to get to the back side of this. We've got stuff on top of the cabinet. We got some golf clubs we got to move. So I'm just going to do a little prep work. I'm going to pull the drawers out to make it a little bit lighter and show you what we do. I want to show you how we got to take these drawers out. I'm going to pull these drawers out just to make the cabinet a little bit lighter is all. You pull this out, you're going to see some little flat deals on the sides here. This side you push up, the other side you push down. You got to look real careful because you may at first think you don't know how to pull these drawers out. Don't fight it. Look around. Generally, you can find something in there that makes sense. Now, this side, like I say, pushes up. The other side pushes down. So look at that and pull your drawers out. I'm going to do this the right way. Some people might think, oh, why are you going through all that hassle to move everything out of the way? Why don't you reach in there and put a drill in there and drill this hole out? Well, first off, if you do that, you're going to leave sawdust all over the place. I don't want any sawdust left. I'm treating this just like it's my own house. So I'm going to pull this stuff out carefully, and I'm going to set this up. I'm going to pull it out from the wall a little bit so I can get around to both sides, and I'm going to do this properly. The part I'm actually going to pull out is I'm going to pull the VCR out, and I'm going to be real careful to see what kind of plug-ins I have, and I need to get this out of the way so that I can reach in here. I'm not actually going to pull the TV out of the way. I pulled this out of the wall, or away from the cabinet a little bit. Before I start pulling all this out, I'm going to make a little diagram of which wire goes where. I don't want to think that I can remember all this, and I've got quite a few wires here. And as you can see, all of these wires have to go through that hole. So I'm going to have to make the hole big enough to allow and accommodate all that. So make your diagram now. Before we go too much further, I know I'm going to have to pull this out, and all the wires are going to have to be rerouted around the back. I've got to get to the back side anyways, so I'm going to pull the cabinet gently away from the wall, just scooting it out back and forth, so I have enough room in the back. If you don't want to draw a diagram, you can take a picture of this with a digital camera or something like that. You just want to make sure that all these wires, when we pull them off, you put them all back exactly how you found them. All right, here's our wires. We've got all these wires that have to be drilled through here. So there's quite a few wires here. We've got to have all these ends going through there too. Granted, you can put one end in at a time, so we don't need the hole really super huge, but we need it quite large enough so we don't have any problems for any future wires that may want to go through there. I'm going to drill a hole at least 2 inches in diameter, maybe a little bit bigger. And I'm going to show you what kind of drill I use for that. When you're doing projects around the house, you might want to think about investing into a battery-operated drill. This is a standard battery-operated drill. It's an 18 volt. You can get them in 12 volt, 16 volt, 18 volt. This just happens to be the one I bought. It comes with 2 different batteries. Battery charger, got a nice little flashlight in here too. You can angle the head wherever you want. You can set it down. I always make sure to charge one of the batteries while I'm working with another one. That way, when one of the batteries goes down, I've always got an extra battery charged. Nice to have. They don't really cost as much as you would think. Go to your hardware store, closest hardware store, see what they got, or one of the larger box stores, and they usually have things of this nature for different prices. They go on sale, and different brands and that kind of stuff. I'm not saying buy a Ryobi, that's just what I have. I've got a nice container here with some extra drill bits and stuff. It also is nice, a little magnetic tip holder which fits in here. And then you can change the tips and just kind of slip them in and pull them out. Nice little units these are, so think about that before you do your next project. I'm just going to use a cordless drill for this to drill the hole. Now, you could use like a paddle bit. These are little paddle bits, but obviously we're not going to use any of these for this project. 3/4, 7/8, 1 inch. If you have a small hole, you could get away with the paddle bit like that. Well, what I'm going to use is a hole saw. And this is a little bit different than a regular hole saw. A regular hole saw has teeth that go all the way around the circle. You've seen them at the stores. This is going to do the same thing. I like this way better because I can dial this in. This is called a dial. It says dial saw, but dial a saw or something like that. They're kind of hard to find at the stores. You just got to look for them. And I can turn that in to 1 inch, and I can twist it out to 2.5 inches. And then there's just a nut on the back side. You tighten it up, take a crescent wrench, tighten that sucker down, and then you've got whatever size you want. And so that's what I'm going to use. I really like using this this hole saw. This is my hole saw that I use for drilling holes through doors, all kinds of stuff. The other hole saws with the teeth all the way around, they get dull very quick. And this is something, you know, once those get dull, you might as well buy another one. Forget about it. This one here, as you see, there's only three stems here that do all the cutting. And so if you did want to sharpen it up, you could get a really small file, and all you have to do is sharpen up these little tips with a small file, and voila, you're ready to go. So that's what we're going to use to drill this hole. And I'm going to make it, I thought 2 inches. I'm going to go a little bit bigger. I'm just going to make it about 2.25, 2.5 inches. Okay, I've got this all set to go. The one thing I wanted to mention to you, it's got a drill bit in the middle of it. You have to make sure you don't break that off. If you ever break that tip of that drill bit off, this type of drill saw is not going to work to cut the hole. So be real careful when you set this down, when you put it away. You don't want to step on it or anything like that. If you snap that off, you've got to get a new drill bit or something put in there. I don't know if this one is even interchangeable. You may have to buy a whole new drill bit. But the reason why we're drilling this out is the back of this cabinet is about 3/8 of an inch thick. It's not just 1/8 inch board, which is very thin. If it was that thin, you could almost cut a square out of the backside with the sheetrock knife, score it, and just make a square out of there. I've done that before, but this is 3/8, so just want to let you know what we're doing and why. And we're going to reach back in here, and we're going to drill a hole way back in there. So you've got to put this way back in there, and I've made a determination. We're just going to take it into the middle. But before I start drilling back here, I'm going to look on the back side. I want to make sure we don't have any other cords in our way. Last thing I want to do is drill through something or nick something that's been taped on the back side of your cabinet. So check things out before you start drilling. Okay, once I start drilling my hole, I only want to go down so far. I want the tip of the hole saw, just the middle drill bit, to go all the way through. Once I see it from the other side, once I start drilling and see it from the other side, I'm going to go around on the back side and drill just a little bit there and score it, then come around on this side, or I can finish it on the back side, either way. But I want to start a hole, and if I drill the hole just on this side, it kind of rips the back out, so I want to be careful when I do it. So that's just how I do it. I'm getting ready to drill this, but before I drill it, I want to use my special tools right now. And those special tools are, when I start drilling, it's going to be really loud. So I've got little earplugs, so I'm going to put my earplugs in, and I also have some goggles. It's always, or some glasses, protective eyewear. It's always good to do that so you don't get any sawdust or any chips of wood around, and the earplugs really help your ears out. I got my hole drilled. Just pull that out. Here's the piece I drilled out, and I'm going to take a little rasp. And I'm just going to clean around the edges because when I run the wires through there, I want to make sure they don't hit on any imperfections. So if you got a rasp, now's the time to use it. We're going to use a little wood rasp. And it's curved on one side, it's flat on the other. And I'm going to use this just to file around the edges of the hole that I just cut, that I just drilled. That way my wires aren't going to hit any burrs, so it's nice and clean. It's cleanup time, so I'm just going to use a paintbrush as a little broom. And I'm going to sweep this out. Once I get done with that, I'm going to use a rag and wrap it in a little putty knife, and then I can go around the edges and get all the particles inside there, and then use the rag, wipe out the rest, put it in a dustpan. Keep your thing nice and clean. It's nice when you finish the job. We don't want any remnants showing that we did anything. That's what we're attempting here. If you have a vacuum cleaner with some mini attachments, now's the time to use that as well. Man, this is pretty long. Just taking a break here. Well, I guess I better get back at it. Okay, we ran into a slight snag, and I wanted to show you what we're going to do now. We've got one small cord here that comes directly from the TV. If I go through the back and back down, my cord's going to be too short. So I'm glad I did have the paddle bits. I'm going to take a paddle bit and I'm going to drill it for this into the back of the cabinet so that I can have more room. If I re-drill some holes, I can make this one longer because this one needs to fit behind the VCR. My other cables, I've looked through my other cables and I may have to drill another hole or two, so be prepared for your project. We're going to take our handy dandy vacuum cleaner. Now's the time to vacuum up around the back side of the cabinet before we push it back in. So make sure everything's vacuumed up nicely at this point and your cabinet's wiped out, clean, ready to put back together. Okay, we've got everything cleaned up, the wires back. Set this up here, look at your diagram or your picture on your camera, hook that sucker back up now. Ready to put the VCR back in. All the cables aren't the same length, so there's two long ones here, there's some real short ones back here. I had to re-drill some holes, but these are long enough. But go ahead and hook up your longest cords first, shove them back in there, and then twist this around and you'll be able to do it. Hook those up too and put it back in the cabinet. Voila, no more wires. Ooh, that looks nice. Okay, ready? Push this back into place. When you push heavy cabinets like this back, just look on the ground and see where the footholes were from before and line them up with that. Then you know it's in the exact same place as where you took it out. That way there's no questions after you get done. We got everything pushed back in its right place. Now we're going to go ahead and put the drawers in. Make sure when you take your drawers out, you know which one's the left, which one's the right, in case somebody has a preference. You're working in somebody else's home, you always want to take that in consideration so that they don't have to move things around. And we'll put everything back the way it was before we got here. And we're going to vacuum the floor right here. We're going to wipe up. It's going to look like we were never here. Here's our final end result. We're done with this project. Not really a project, just a little honeydew item on the list. We can cross this one off now. We're done.
I guess that's why they call it the Rainbow State. That is cool.
Look at that.
Do you have a question about anything on how to around your house that you need Joe to help you with? Hey, send me a line and I'll get back to you. I want to help you with your projects.